5 o'clock, zombies. How you doing? Still in the evening. It's still Sunday, the 19th of October, 2025. You know me, the diary griever named John Weaver, which is me, with Madam Fuss Budget, my little tyrant here. All right, I had been going over a video that I came across. Occupy Democrats were looking at a one particular video that was passing around, and they chunked it up, and they were looking at it, and they were laughing their asses off on this one. I'll leave a link. I have to leave links. Guys, you're going to have to remind me out there that if I'm forgetting material that I'm saying, I'll post them in the comments. I need to be aware. Sometimes my memory's not so good either. But what they were showing at in one particular town, I don't know where the hell this was, but I know that they're wearing cold weather stuff. So it could have been Colorado, it could have been some of the other towns or cities up in East Coast. And because of these no king protests going on, they're always trying to keep it they're always trying to get it at a low boiling point. They don't want anybody to go thermonuclear at this point over here. We're like talking about a Woodstock here on a constant basis here. However, you do have Trumpers out there who want to get the violence. It's not just getting the violence. They want it on tape. They want proof. And Occupy Democrats found the proof, laughing at the damn thing, saying one way, but the Trumpers are already utilizing this for the next salvo. If that wasn't bad enough, we got the LA Times posting an article concerning about that little stink that I talked about originally. There's a story. It says shrapnel fall onto CHP vehicle during U.S. military live fire exercise over the 1-5 agency. Military exercise that shot live fire artillery rounds over the Interstate 5 on Saturday dropped metal shrapnel onto a highway patrol protective detail. Protective detail for J.D. Vance, the dumb fuck. It occurred shortly after the detail landed and escorted Vance over to the Marine Corps event at Pendleton. Paraphrasing. CHP said it was from explosive ordnance that was fired over the I-5 and detonated overhead prematurely, striking and damaging the vehicle. CHP motor with the detail also was struck. Oh boy. Shrapnel fell in an area where officers were gathered to close traffic along the I-5 in northern San Diego County through the Marine Corps base of Pendleton. I'm just reading it, paraphrasing it sometimes. State officials decided to order the closure of the freeway during the live fire exercise conducted for the Marine Corps' 250th anniversary, featuring Vance. Clusterfuck. I got an issue. How long did this guy serve as a jarhead? You heard me. What was this asshole's military career? Okay, Kentucky. Actually, born in Ohio. Adopted. Okay, fine. Drug addiction. He had problems with that one. Okay. Not relating with the asshole. So he's got history in his family concerning about service in the military. Okay, so in 03 he joined the Corps, combat correspondence journalist. He was assigned to the 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing. 4 years. He was deployed over non-combat, observing and reporting. Corporal. Achievement and a contact medal. 07 he leaves. He's the GI Bill to go to Ohio State. BA. political science and philosophy. Then he goes to Yale. Well, there he screwed up there. So basically, he didn't fire a weapon. He was trained to fire a weapon, but he's going to correspondence school. When you're going through military training, including the Marine Corps, and the Navy, and the Army, and the Air Force, you are trained at boot camp on how to fire a weapon, how to clean, use, service, and utilize. For those who have high marks, they would award him. Apparently, he didn't have the high marks enough, because the only thing he has is a good conduct medal and an achievement medal. But what was his marks when he got out of boot? And where did he do his boot? Sure as hell wasn't Lejeune. Was he a Hollywood? Was he a Hollywood Marine? The only two schools I know on the West and East Coast. Pendleton's the training camp, and they call California the Hollywood Marines over there. But they do have an expedition force over there, or at Pendleton. And then Lejeune, they got one of the hardcore asses over there. So it doesn't. I'm sorry, my head's wrapping around this damn thing and how screwed up he is. He was acting as if he was a Hollywood fanboy of Pendleton. If he was a Marine, I didn't see any Marine in him. All I saw was a con artist. Was it Francis Ford Coppola made a film, Full Metal Jacket? It reminded me of some of the characters that he created. Probably got some of them anyway. About their personality differences. And then you had R. Lee Ermey, Gunny, coming in there for a Hollywood pick shot. Most of those lines were his, of Ermey's, of being a drill sergeant. He wasn't playing on that stuff either. He was scaring the crap out of people. But that's what made him a good drill sergeant. He scared the crap out of people. You're supposed to get your frickin' attention. That was Irvin Lejeune. That was not Pendleton. So what the hell happened in Pendleton was all of the Hollywood shots that they had. But because of what Vance's dumbass thing was going to be doing, he endangered lives at his detail. Going back to the article again for the LA Times. A shrapnel that struck the CHP patrol vehicle was 2 inches by 2.5 inches, according to the report. No one was in the vehicle when it was struck. The shrapnel left what it described as a small dent scratch on the vehicle's hood. Could have been worse. Motorcycle had small bits of shrapnel struck the vehicle. Officer assigned to the Protective Services detail said he heard what sounded like pebbles falling on his motorcycle and 3 feet around him. A metal piece of shrapnel about 1 inch in length and half an inch wide was found near the motorcycle, which was not damaged. No injuries reported. State officers immediately contacted the Marines, which canceled the live action ordinance over the freeway, and the area was swept for further evaluation. You ever heard of the term FOD? F-O-D? Franklin Oscar David? Foreign Object Dispersal or something like that? Hang on. I gotta get that. Hang on. Foreign object debris. When you have stuff like that on a flight strip or an airstrip, whether it be on the sea or land, that stuff can get sucked up into engines and destroy engines left and right. Worse than that, it can make things worse for aviators and engineers and everybody else. When you have debris raining down on a freeway, It's bad enough when drivers have to run on those streets and freeways. Without them swept or cleaned up a little bit, they start having issues with their own engines. Stuff gets sucked up to the grills, into the engine, and starts destroying it left and right. Evidence at this point because we now had live fire raining down on the I-5. Doesn't matter what the hell it is, they screwed this damn thing up. This is going to be one thing that's going to be milked. Governor Newsom called the event over one of California's busiest freeways reckless. I agree. Section of the freeway that was closed for the demonstration was the only, I'm stressing it, only route between Orange County to the beach cities of northern San Diego County. Okay. As I did in a lot of my other videos at this point, I'm putting you guys to your browsers. You put in the map apps that you use, and I want you to look at Southern California. Take a walk with me. I'm using the Google Maps. I'm got that on my phone. I like it. I use it. No issues with it just yet. My default's usually right where I am because that's where I left it at. But I look at Southern California, including all the way down to the Baja tip. That's not where I want to go. And what I want to do is put on the layers. And with the layers, I'm going to be putting on traffic, which means I'm going to have freeways on it. So if I happen to do the default, I'm going to show what the freeways are going to be like. So if you guys would have Los Angeles put a little north, San Diego to the south, and just put the center of the put the edge of the coastline in the center of your screen there, so you can move everything else out. I'll show you the default, but then I'll ask for you to do the satellite. Okay. Now since you have the Huntington Beach up in the north and San Diego to the south, you're going to see that stretch. You're going to see that stretch of highway going between, well, let's see, Newport Beach area, Mission Viejo, San Clemente. You get it narrowed. You get to see San Clemente coming up. And you see there's an angle. There's an angle on that one going right to the coastline and just winds itself down through Oceanside, Carlsbad, Encinitas, Solano Beach, Del Mar. Picturesque, isn't it? Okay, guys. Satellite time. Look at the stretch. Gorgeous, ain't it? Southern California. You got Orange County border, which is San Clemente area, and then San Diego area, which is a little further north of Oceanside. It's that territory that the Marine Corps base is at, in that section. So between San Clemente and Oceanside, we have the strip. That strip of freeway. However, get closer to the strip of freeway. Now, if you're all familiar with trains, the Starliner goes tip to tip. California, actually from Washington all the way down to San Diego. And they got the corridor between, what was it, Dana Point, and further all the way along the beach, Oceanside. Oceanside didn't evacuate. Pendleton is right above Oceanside. But they got that stretch of beach in there. And they got federal territory in there that they were using for their explosive ordinances going right over the freeway. This is the territory. There's a little box shape of a harbor. That's in the area of Pendleton, Camp Pendleton South. The artillery was supposed to have been launched from the shoreline, or a little offshore, and they were supposed to have been aimed at their testing areas well over the San Diego Freeway, both lanes, and of the railroad tracks, which I'm kind of surprised that they hadn't mentioned anything, but there wasn't anything to mention anyway. But along the beach, there is Camp Pendleton, and they got different areas of this whole damn area, including where they do their fire support activity. They'll have the mountain ranges used as their receiving areas. If you looked at the whole area for Camp Pendleton, it's pretty damn big. They use this as a school, but they also use it as Marine retraining and recruit. One time, a long time ago, San Diego used to have the San Diego Recruit Training Center. Pendleton is like advanced training for the Marines. Coronado had been the island for training for other things, including being a naval base since they're across the street from the naval base. But they moved all of their training off, apparently. But if they did do ground training, then it's probably still on Coronado. But not for the Navy. The Navy still maintains an active yard out there. But Pendleton would be your area, wouldn't it? But this is what had been happening here. Along a coastal stretch, right in a marine area, they were trying to have the 250th anniversary, which I'm going to look at one more time on this one. Okay. Now, according to what has been recorded in government sources and in history and other sources I can probably bring up, but I usually bring up Wiki anyway. The United States Marine Corps celebrates its birthday every year on the 10th of November. 1775. So that would be 250 years that they would be celebrating. But they celebrated it on October 18th. Because the White House wanted screwing things up with on No King's Day. You're going to whine. Go ahead. What? You stressed out enough? Okay. She hadn't stressed out enough. The Marine Corps celebrates its birthday in 1775. And 250 years of long-standing tradition and of excellence. So why the hell on October 18th? No King's Day. How to disrupt people? By having live fire exercise and damn near killing people left and right. It's not having people on the freeway. It's having the stuff raining on people. Now, Gavin had said in a news article, they love the Marines and owe a debt of gratitude to Pendleton. But next time, the VP in the White House shouldn't be so reckless with people's lives for their vanity projects, and they're correct on this one. We wouldn't mind that the Marines doing a celebration, a live-action fire on their birthday, but when we actually had something that was telling the White House government to knock their shit up because we don't want kings and tyrants at this point, in which they're acting. Well, this was the White House's response by interfering with California, screwing around with Newsom and everybody else for that matter, while almost putting officers on a protective detail in danger. The artillery, according to the article, planned to be fired at 1:46 p.m., about half an hour after the CHP has stopped traffic, around 1 p.m., along the 17-mile stretch of the I-5. Exercise had been expected to last until 1:51 p.m., with about 60 rounds being fired, according to the CHP. The rounds were shot from White Beach and were aimed northward, according to the CHP. Northward. Whoa. So basically, north. Let's see, White Beach. Is that White Beach? Let me see. I want to see the beach. I want to see the beach. There's the Paradise Beach. Oceanside Manipular. We're in Oceanside. Where's the White Beach? I see many things, but I don't see the White Beach. Except for the long stretch of insanity. Where's the beach? Easter Point. So where the hell they had it at, I wondered. Where they did their landing at. San Onofre? San Onofre Beach? Oh, hold on here. Let us see. I'm going back in there again. I want to know. White Beach. Okay. White Point Beach we have. But that puts that in L.A. Ooh. It said White Beach. So, I think they may have got that screwed up in their reporting. Because if I do a Google search on this one for White Beach, it's not there. It's not there. Why isn't it? So this means I got to tear apart miles and miles of beach between Oceanside and San Diego. And this is going to be a long-ass video here. And I have to get over to the area where we have Pendleton. It is a long stretch of beach, even by Pendleton. And looking at it, yes, it is White Beach with a lot of sand and stuff. So if they're pointing northwards from where they landed at. Of course, they have a Pendleton fire station ready. But was it there? I wonder. They have French Canyon. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing, put you on pause. I do digging. Okay, so the news reports are a little sketchy still among the local and LA Times. Now, in the LA Times, they were mentioning about White Beach. Well, we have in LA County, right by the port of Los Angeles, White Point Beach. So I had to do some digging. I had to look at geography. I had to see in the Pendleton base area just how many areas they've used as a pockmark. And they have a wide spread in their base of what they use for desecrating the ground with a hell of a lot of their artillery shells. It's a large path. So they met White Beach, which is the white beaches they have over there, but there's nothing mentioned as White Beach. Why was it important to me? Well, being a pain in the ass as I am, I had to look at what they were looking at, and not to mention the where they were doing the military buildup at and landing at. I mean, they do have an assault unit right next to the beach. Hovercrafts, not to mention landing crafts. The ones that you see are coming across the waters from landing surface ships. Kind of look like smaller aircraft carriers, but they only use for choppers and VTLs when they have them. So in one particular area that they built up their celebration yesterday, according to the reports, they're shooting the shells northwards. Well, they have plenty of civilian and other buildings in the area. North of their encampment on the east side of the freeway is where things get pockmarked all over the damn place. So technically speaking, they were shooting north. Right, I think in the Aliso Creek area. That's what I'm looking at. For an amount of barrages they've had in the past, that would be the only area I know that they would actually have a landing force. And not to mention making an entire area that they can observe the whole situation of the invasion force. Unless, of course, there was another area that they used for the parade grounds. I just wanted to see how close they were to the damn freeway. And trust me, the 5 goes all the way through Pendleton. So if they did have a protection detail in there, they run the risk. Secret Service has to run the risk. But the Highway Patrol? I'm putting it strongly to the guys who did this shit. You tried to disrupt something peaceful. Didn't work. You immediately pop-marked your own area. And you almost took out California Highway Patrol with your stupidity. I hope you enjoyed it. Because you're not going to get another 250th anniversary out of California at this point. That being said,